Every day, we are faced with a great deal of decisions, which can range from choosing an outfit for the day to choosing a compatible life partner. The choices we make, whether major or minor, can have a long-lasting effect on our lives. When it comes to making decisions, most of us try to make the right choices. But sometimes, despite our intentions, we make the wrong ones. In the following video, we'll present you effective tips to avoid making bad decisions. But before we move on, please support us with a like, subscription, and click on the bell icon to receive new video updates. 1. Don't waste time searching for the best option. Having a lot of choices is great, until it's not. In fact, according to researchers, we spend so much time seeking out options that outweighs any benefit of having additional choices. Choices come at a cost, and most of us underestimate how much we're paying. Accordingly, when you're researching options, set a time limit for yourself and make sure you're not using your decision-making angst as a procrastination device. 2. Face reality. Too many people living in an if only or I wish fantasy world, and not in the reality of what is actually going on at this moment. Be honest with yourself. Make choices based on what you wish would happen or should happen or might happen is not a good foundation for decision making. The results will never be what you need them to be to move ahead successfully. If you can't realistically look at your life, then ask a good friend to be up in front of you. The truth may hurt you, but you can't make good choices without it. 3. Don't assume everyone else has better information. We tend to assume everyone knows something we don't, and therefore we should do what they're doing, because they must be acting on a superior knowledge. But that's not necessarily the case. Behavioral economist Matthew Rabin and Eric Aister extended this further, explaining that this herding effect can perpetuate wrong choices. As a group, we seem to overestimate how much people are acting on better private information and underestimate how much they are simply following others. Sometimes people genuinely are privy to real information you're not, but in plenty of cases, they're just following the crowd. 4. Seek good information and guidance. When you are faced with difficult choices, you often seek the guidance of experts or people you trust. There are times when you get valid information from these sources, but there are also instances when you need to challenge the advice given to ensure that you are provided with accurate information. Emotional and mental clarity is also possible through psychic guidance. A good psychic will help you come up with a personal roadmap and empower you to make decisions by weighing the benefits and consequences of each choice. 5. Harness the power of a good nap. While we previously cautioned against going with your gut, a study from the University of Amsterdam found that there's a time and a place for everything. And when it comes to complex choices, sometimes it's best to let your unconscious mind do the heavy lifting. In cases where a lot of independent factors are at play, making a decision when your mind isn't actively focused can actually lead to better, more satisfying choices. To harness the decision-making power of your unconscious, distract your conscious brain by sleeping or working on something else. 6. Don't assume everyone is as trustworthy as you are. There's a downside to being a highly trustworthy person. You're not very good at assessing whether someone else is trustworthy too. Due to false consensus theory, we tend to think other people would behave pretty much as we would in a given situation. That is, if you're honest, you assume everyone around you is honest. And if you tend to lie, you see a world of liars. And the tendency persists even when we get information to the contrary. If you're extremely trustworthy, then be careful that you're not exceeding your admirable characteristics to someone who might not deserve it. 7. Practice predicting the odds of various outcomes. A study cited in the Wall Street Journal found that weather forecasters have among the highest risk intelligence ever recorded. That's likely because forecasters, unlike the rest of us, are constantly required to assign probabilities and percentages to possible outcomes. And they get frequent, fast feedback on their predictions. As a result, they are better at being realistic with their goals. That suggests that even the non-meteorologists among us can get better at making accurate forecasts with practice, keeping track of our stats, and learning from our previous mistakes. 8. Make sure you're seeing the big picture. At the opposite of good decisions made with clear judgment and common sense lies decisions wrought with psychological bias. Psychological biases, which are also referred to as cognitive biases, lead people to make actions or decisions in an irrational manner. A confirmation bias can occur when you're looking for information that supports your existing beliefs, thereby rejecting anything that goes against what you believe. This bias is motivated by wishful thinking and leads to prejudice towards a preconceived notion or view. It can cause individuals only to see one side of a situation and leads to heretics or mental shortcuts. Individuals who seek out confirmation or evidence that confirms their expectations or beliefs will make decisions based upon that bias, which can lead to negative outcomes. Eventually, despite these tips that could actually minimize the odds of making bad decisions drastically, still you have to keep it in the back of your mind that we are human beings, and missing is a part of our nature. So if you took a bad decision, accept it, learn from it, and let it be a stepping stone for you to rise.